What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala. Man, it's been a crazy week, man, for so many reasons. Oh, wait. First of all, this is a weekly podcast with multiple episodes per week where we talk about the hottest news and current affairs with what, Terrence?
A touch of humor.
A touch of humor, man. So if you want to feel smart and have a laugh, then listen in.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a crazy week, eh?
Crazy fucking week for many reasons.
Yeah.
Some of which are what?
We are going back to phase 2. Singapore we've got active COVID clusters again, so we are going back into phase 2.
Yeah, and all the signs are kind of there. You know, like I just read that almost a third of all Mother's Day restaurant bookings this weekend have been cancelled at many restaurants.
Shit,
I've heard some of my friends or people I know say they're already stocking up on shit, and I'm like, oh my god, no. Okay, we just need to do our part. Right now, the phase 2 is still end of May, right?
Yep. No, what do you mean?
Yeah.
What phase 2 till? Oh, until end of May. I mean,
end
that's
of
what
May,
that's what we're hoping for.
That's
I think
the current
biggest,
timeline,
biggest complaints I'm hearing so far are from gym instructors and class dance instructors, whatever. You can't have any indoor lessons.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It is rough, and I mean, and I guess now it feels like that industry is almost being targeted. But I mean, I can understand that it's probably not the simplest process to decide who to lock down, because some people are saying, F&B restaurants should be locked down. Why is it just gyms and all? But I think it's so dicey, man.
Yeah. And it goes. I think especially it goes against the ethos of like you need to build up your immunity by continuing to exercise, by continuing to be healthy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to just lazing around at home, so that's why it's doubly like what you say, people feel like the industry is being targeted.
Yeah, but I mean that's very speculative, of course, because who knows what is going on the back doors of which Ong Ye Kung is probably now very immersed in, because he's the incoming Minister of Health.
Correct.
And I heard that the latest news is Gan Kim Yong, who is going to stay on as co-chair of the task force.
Oh,
He's like a COVID veteran, yeah.
He's like the COVID mentor, COVID task force co-chair mentor.
Yes, yeah. Oh, Lord. But I mean, these past few days have also been crazy for another reason. Is because we are recording this podcast on 6th May, and tonight is the first of 3 live shows that we are going to be performing at.
And what are we performing?
Stand-up fucking comedy.
Stand-up comedy, yeah. New art form for us. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so surreal, because like just a few days after these restrictions are kicking in, it has already forced our show organizers to unfortunately like trim the attendance down to 100 people. And it feels like we're being given this opportunity to perform live, and who knows when we might be able to do it again. So those of you coming to the show, we hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, this is our final run of shows before the end of phase 3.
Yeah, man. That's why
you can say it that way, right?
3.
Yeah.
No,
so,
literally,
yeah.
Our show today and tomorrow are not as affected as the show on Saturday. So we are almost in the cusp, the transition, the transition period. So kudos to the organizers of the show. It's called Dose of Comedy 2. Unfortunately, I don't think there are tickets available anymore.
Yep. Sold out, saying.
Sold out. Yeah, sold out.
Yeah.
Our first show sold out.
Sold out.
Fucking hell. We did our first open mic last night. And this week, last weekend, and our show sold out.
Yeah, that's how badly they want to see us.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, speaking of Singaporeans doing interesting things, not to plug our own horns or anything, but something made the news recently that we want to talk about.
It's quite interesting because it's related to something that we probably most of us use on a daily basis.
Most of us, you use it on a daily basis.
I don't even have it installed right now, man, to be honest.
And the app that Terrence is talking about is TikTok.
TikTok.
And why we want to talk about it is because last Saturday, May 1st, which was incidentally the day of our first open mic, it was announced that the new CEO of TikTok is a Singaporean. And his name is Chu Shou Zi. Is that correct?
Correct. That's right.
Yeah. So I mean, that's all well and good for him. They had an interim CEO for the past year because I think last year there was quite a high profile fallout of Kevin Mayer, the CEO who took over not too long before that, and then in the interim it's been someone called Vanessa Hudgens who will
Vanessa
now be
Papas.
Oh yeah, fuck. Who the fuck is Vanessa Hudgens?
That's High School
Vanessa Hudgens
Musical.
Oh my god.
Obviously, you know what, Harish? The kind of shows that Harish used to watch when he was in his 20s. High School Musical.
No wonder, as I was saying, I was like, why does this sound wrong?
Yeah.
So I don't think she's okay. So Vanessa Papas was the interim CEO, and now she's gonna be the COO. But yeah, this 39-year-old Singaporean, 39 years old, no?
Yeah.
39 years old, is gonna be CEO of TikTok. But then why was it so interesting?
I think a lot of people were very shocked that a Singaporean was going to be head of TikTok, which is a huge Chinese company, right? Or it was a Chinese company. I'm not sure. Now it's international. Now it's based in Singapore. People were even questioning: is he really Singaporean? Like Singaporean in the sense of like, did he serve national service? Did he grow up here and everything?
And I guess, I mean, I know I saw a lot on my news feed, people saying, they're so proud that there's a Singaporean leading a company. And
really?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of pride are they expressing? Like, they are friends of his or what?
I know one of them who is a common friend. I'm guessing you saw the post. He works in a tech company, and he said, he's so proud to that one of us is leading a globally important company or something. I paraphrase, but something along that kind of sentiment.
I don't know who's that.
You talk about
who's this common friend? Yeah, I'm not sure.
He works for a big tech bro lah.
Big tech bro.
Our common friend.
He's that Lone Ranger inside who.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, got it. Understand.
Yeah. So he's in the big tech world, but and when you say TikTok is a big company, like it's big, yes, it's a fucking worth billions of dollars, but it's also very very current lah. It's in pop culture, it's in politics, it's entrenched in the creator space, so it is a very relevant current company lah.
Correct.
Yeah. And this guy Chu Shou-Zi, he didn't just come in wasn't parachuted in. He joined ByteDance just a month prior as CFO. So in terms of the hierarchy, ByteDance owns TikTok.
That's right.
So yeah, he was the CFO of ByteDance, and then now he's the CEO of TikTok.
Correct.
And he's been in China for a while. He was based on his LinkedIn profile, he was at Xiaomi since 2015. He was the CFO, then partner, director, president of international. And he was, I think, kind of one of the main people in charge of taking them through the IPO.
Basically, the company Xiaomi, helping it go public in 2018, right?
Yes, correct.
Yep. Correct.
Yeah.
So he's a very illustrious CV. I think he also did his undergraduate studies somewhere in London, maybe Cambridge or
at UCL. Yeah, at
UCL. University College London, also a very prestigious university. And then he completed his MBA in Harvard in 2010.
Yeah, and in between that, he did investment banking at Goldman Sachs. So fucking just boom, checkbox.
But one thing I said, Facebook, everything. Yeah. Sorry, what did you say?
But one thing, has he done stand-up comedy? You think?
No, he hasn't. Loser. No. We're kidding. I mean, we're just. I think Harish and I we're just very proud of ourselves for finally doing something that we've been talking about for maybe 10 years already lah.
Yeah.
That's it's like when you go skydiving, suddenly everything else seems insignificant compared to skydiving. So stand-up comedy is like skydiving for us like that.
Yeah, and then whenever I meet Rishi, I'll tell Rishi, one day I want to try stand-up. He's like, okay, come for open mic next week. I was like, that one I got family outing just maybe the following month lah.
Yeah.
So it's been a while, but yeah. So
anyway, we digress. So a lot of I guess a lot of the comments and all the chatter about him. There's a lot of pride about him being Singaporean, but also some people were questioning, is he really Singaporean? Because like a lot of people didn't expect a Singaporean to helm a so-called Chinese company, lah, right? Such a big Chinese company as well. So it's like a very big step forward, lah. Like they always talk about why Singaporeans cannot be CEOs of our banks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think it's a very interesting discussion. So there was a commentary in the Straits Times that was also that reflected on this, lah. And could you give a bit of details about it?
It was in the Channel News Asia, actually.
Oh, sorry, Channel News Asia. Yep.
Yeah, and it was written by a professor at the SUSS, Dr. Leong Chan Hung. And the crux of, okay, to be honest, by the end of reading it, right, I felt his language was sometimes a bit like I don't really know what he's talking about. I don't know whether that was a common sentiment, but broadly speaking, I think he was talking about how the whole questioning of whether this TikTok new CEO is Singaporean or Joseph Schooling is Singaporean, it is a very dated concept, and in this sort of global age, we can't hold on to this, like doing NS means you're Singaporean. If you never do NS, you will never be Singaporean. If I understood correctly, lah. Because a lot of the times he would explain he like one sentence: humans are cognitive misers. We prefer to make sense of the world, our problems in particular, using a simple and usually binary prism. So of course you can unpack that, but his language is very bombastic, lah. And sometimes I'm like, wait, what is he saying? But I think that's the crux of it, lah.
Yeah, I think similar to you also, I had to read his commentary a couple of times to really get a sense of what he was getting at, lah. Yeah, but I think you basically pulled out the most important statement that he made there. That Singaporean, I think in his essence is saying that Singaporeans need to get away from this whole is he really Singaporean or not Singaporean kind of mentality, and embrace foreigners, PRs, and everyone who is in our comes to our country and all lah. In order to move forward. If not, we'll always be a nation of he never used the word racist or xenophobic, but we just won't be able to go very far lah, right? If we are not an open city, open country with takes in talents from all corners lah. So go on.
No lah. And what was your thoughts about that?
I had to read it twice also because I wasn't. Everything he wrote about sounded good on paper, but at the same time, I felt that he does something that I see a lot of political, especially more conservative political commentators like to pull out. They like to pull out this, this straw man argument, and this is where it's fantastic to use the word straw man, because it's literally like you build a false argument using a straw man, saying that there's this straw man Singaporean made out of straw, so it's not real. This Singaporean who is like always about the always asking about, did this person do NS? Did this person do all? Is he really Singaporean? Did he grow up here? Did he grow up elsewhere? And things like that lah. So they always say that there's this is the stereotypical, or this is the typical Singaporean. This is the typical way a Singaporean thinks about issues like that. But I feel there's almost like a oversimplification of all the factors that go into the angst that people feel about immigration issues and things like that. It's almost pointing it towards a kind of nativism or the very Trump kind of like immigrants are terrible and immigration's terrible kind of thing. And I just don't feel that Singaporeans deserve that reputation lah.
So you're saying that he's making Singaporeans out to be very bitter and almost petty lah?
I don't know about the emotions of bitter and petty, but almost making us out to have become descended down to the level of Trump's kind of like xenophobic, racist kind of talk lah. And I feel that is a bit of an oversimplification of the whole landscape. Like because of, say for example, when when we spoke to Sudhir, right, on our podcast. I think he pointed out that there's a lot of nuances that go into this issue of immigration and talent, lah, right? One big factor being that Singapore, at the end of the day, is a city state, lah. And so, the need to be open as a city to allow talent in, but at the same time you're a state, so you can't have it just throw open your doors like that either, like, right? Citizenship can't you can't just like willy-nilly give it away to anyone who enters your country and all that, like, right? So there's a lot of complications there, and tied in with that also, the very, very liberal policies of immigration that was practiced in the early 2000s or mid to late 2000s. That I think those factors also need to be mentioned. I mean, it got mentioned in passing in one paragraph in what he wrote, but a lot of it wasn't in detail, and a lot of it again pointed back to the Singapore attitudes, which I think it just oversimplifies what the issue is, lah.
But I mean, it's interesting you say that, because I think there's a bit of something like a line that needs to be connected, because here is a Singaporean becoming the CEO of a foreign company. But what you're saying is that it kind of exposes the underlying tensions of Singaporeans in Singapore towards foreigners coming into Singapore.
Correct. Yep. Oh no, he's just saying that the way that firstly people questioned that whether he was Singaporean, and then when they found out that he was really so-called Singaporean in the sense that he did NS and everything, right? Then they said, oh yeah, then this is someone to be really proud of, lah. This is someone that we should really celebrate and be proud of, like our friend, like you mentioned, So from there he extrapolates that also. I mean, not just extrapolates, but he also points out that there, on the flip side, people question how come our local banks CEOs are all foreign? How come we don't get a local to be the CEO of one of our banks and things like that, no?
So then what do you feel like if you could? Because I think right now, he does point that out, but that means you disagree with that, lah.
No, I feel
like, what are your sentiment?
No, I mean, my sentiment is definitely there are some people who look at all these issues and say, if he's not a real Singaporean, means if he never served NS, if he never grew up here, doesn't know what the taste of Hainanese chicken rice is, then he's not a real Singaporean. Of course, there are people like that, right? Definitely amongst us there are. But I don't think that is the biggest issue when trying to explain why Singaporeans seem to be reacting this way. They're reacting in this way. I don't think that's the biggest issue. I think he fails to acknowledge the fact that there are a lot of policy issues that have not been mentioned. Policies about immigration that were too liberal in the 2000s and have, and since then have been tightened, but have also caused, very long-term issues in Singapore's social fabric and all. It's not just social fabric, even the breakdown of our MRT line infrastructure, all that, it can be attributed to the influx of immigrants and everything during the 2000s. So I feel that this kind of article kind of puts the onus on Singaporeans' poor attitudes, you know what I mean? Versus the onus on whether it's policymakers to acknowledge the mistakes of the past and correct them, or to take into account, shit has happened in the past that has disadvantaged Singaporeans now. How do we correct that, and how do we acknowledge that and correct that? The first step to solving a problem is to acknowledge that there is a problem. If we just continually say it's not a problem, is that Singaporeans are xenophobic and racist, we will never acknowledge the problem and solve it, So articles like that, what I mean by saying, when I say it's a straw man, so you throw up this straw man saying that, this is the typical Singaporean who just sits there and is xenophobic and racist, when actually there are a lot of people down there on the ground trying to bring up different issues, bring up more issues, that are being ignored and just being lumped into one, or you're racist or xenophobic or anti-capitalist or whatever, you're socialist and or communist and everything,
So I guess you hate strawman as much as slippery slope, right?
Strawman, I don't know, harder to identify strawman arguments sometimes, because there is a level of like I do question myself. Hey, am I where do my attitude where does this attitude come from? Like, I do try and catch myself. I do realize like a lot of times I speak from a very privileged position, privileged in terms of the economics or finance or even just like my race and everything. I also speak from that position, so I have to check myself very carefully to see is there something in my blind spot that I'm missing lah. But after thinking through it, then I realized I think we also don't give Singaporeans enough credit sometimes lah. The fact that we are a country built on the backs of immigrants,
Yeah.
and I don't think everyone has just magically forgotten that overnight in our generation either. So I feel it's a bit of a we understand what we are as a city state, and we are generally speaking, generally we are very open, and we're multicultural. We're very open to different cultures and practices and things like that. But this could be my Chinese privilege talking lah. So why don't I give you the floor now to give a little perspective from the minority view? If not, later people say I'm Chinese privileging you out of this conversation.
I disagree with everything you said. No, because when we were deciding the topic, like initially I was thinking, with this topic, is it that interesting? Then Terrence, like he rated it pretty high, lah. Then I was like, why the fuck you want to talk about this? But then now I get what you're saying, lah. And I think, I mean, it kind of adds on to what I feel sometimes when I see things like like be more gracious, those be gracious campaigns, kindness campaigns. And I mean, those organizations, they do really good stuff. They fill an important gap in terms of educating people about compassion or empathy, But I think when I was younger, I used to see value in that. I'm like, this is just good advice. What you see so many quotes on people's Instagrams, if there's one thing you can be in the world, it is be kind.
Yeah.
And everybody loves it.
Yeah.
So if the government is just saying that, what's wrong? Or if there's this material or collateral that reinforces that, what's wrong? But I think over time, I also got to realize that, that kind of absolves the institutions or the policymakers from kind of having to accept that people react in ways that are logical to them, that are illogical to other people. And just because someone is complaining about something that you don't understand doesn't mean that there's something real that they're feeling, right? And we have seen that time and time again, where there's this brewing tension about something, and it's only evaluated from the surface, like there's, I don't know, like people kind of wanting to sign a petition to cancel Pink Dot, like and all that. And I mean, that's something I totally disagree with, but I think there's an underlying thing there that cannot be missed out.
Yeah.
Of course that maybe that was not the best example, but something like where it feels like, okay, people are just being unreasonable. Like even stocking up on toilet paper, right? I know last year we did one podcast about, I think it was Chan Chun Sing who kind of said, don't be an idiot or something, just follow government, we'll take care of you.
Yeah.
And
this was what you're referencing is when he, in a closed door session, he said that a bunch of Singaporeans were behaving like idiots like that, and then lao kui because like people in Hong Kong were stocking toilet paper, then people in Singapore go and stock toilet paper also, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then he got lampooned for being so condescending when talking about Singaporeans.
Yeah, I mean, there will always be people out there who are like, they do idiotic stuff. You know, like they're fucking like, I would say, okay, they're idiots. But when it happens across a lot of people, I think, to just write them off and blame them for their actions is not fair lah. And I get now I get why you were so triggered by this article about how because it kind of. Like when I read this, I felt like, okay, if let's say this guy didn't spend that much time in Singapore, and if I felt a bit like, then is he really Singaporean? It makes me the bad guy.
Yeah.
Right. It makes me the bad guy, and it makes me feel like, okay, I'm not mature enough, and I'm not global enough to think that, you know what, this is the way of the world going forward. Suck it up, man.
Yeah.
It is my attitude that is conservative and outdated lah.
Correct. So yeah, like it's very easy to paint the the guy who talks about, oh, real Singaporeans must serve NS, then you understand what it means to be Singaporean. Where like why does that attitude come about, lah? Right? I think that's one question I ask myself, like why do we need someone else to suffer the pain of national service before we consider them fully Singaporean and all this, lah? And I mean, I think about it a lot as well, and part of it I just attribute it to the fact that the fact is that national service is still, even today, all the years later, is still seen as a very big punishment like that, lah. Right? Very people, very. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but very few people approach it thinking that it's going to be a glorious time. It's a very, very, very proud time for me to be serving my country and everything. And part of the reason is because you are taking 2 years off from the prime of your life, and you're going in to be very underpaid in terms of, like, given that it's the prime of your life and everything, to serve the nation, lah, right? So you're told that you're serving the nation, but you got to suck up the financial hit, you got to suck up the hit on your time and everything, lah. So it is a very big sacrifice that when I look at students of that same people of that same age in other countries, in Australia, I bumped into kids doing a gap year, between the high school and the university, lah. Just taking a year off, going to developing countries, traveling, seeing the world, and just opening up the worldview and just being more, globalized citizens, right? Traveling, learning through traveling, all that. So I realize all these opportunities are not available for Singaporeans, because we are mandated to stay around and all this, law. So there is a real sense of like you really lost something during those couple of years, and it's not properly compensated through pay or anything like that, you see. So they say it must come from inside you. It must come from inside you. This wanting to serve your country, and yeah, lah, to some extent it will come from inside you. But I think the cons still outweigh the pros, lah. If you ask me, the cons still massively outweigh the pros, lah, in terms of serving, like sacrificing for national service, lah. So I don't blame people for having such strong feelings about national service and about it being a very important differentiator between what makes a real Singaporean and not a real Singaporean.
It's almost like, you hear about those gangs where, to join you must cut off your pinky or something. If you don't cut off your pinky, you're not one of us. Or it's like fucking the poly, lah. If you don't get pissed on, you're not one of us. We fucking piss on you, then you're one of us. If you just come in, join our club, but you don't have any piss on your back, you are not one of us.
But piss easy, you see. Piss is like 5 minutes of your time, and then after that, 1 day of shame, and after that, you go home and you're done. But when you really sacrifice 2 years of your time, when you're pissed on for 2 years, then it's different, you see. Right.
So you would rather take say a month of being pissed on for 5 minutes at a time than 2 years of NS?
Maybe not a month, lah. Like I could deal.
Actually, even if it's
I could deal with
if it's a month,
I could deal with a
dude,
week.
it's 5 minutes a day. First thing in the morning, you wake up, brush your teeth, get pissed on, then you shower.
Then you shower.
Just 1 month.
I think I would. Yeah, actually a month.
It's part of your daily schedule.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, that's why. If you said you wouldn't do it, I was like, hey, hello, then you just lost me or what you said just now about the cons outweighing the pros.
Yeah. My point is that the cons still outweigh the pros so much. So you can't blame Singaporeans or so-called like all these like racist or xenophobic Singaporeans for having such strong feelings about it, lah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and it can be corrected, like just. I mean, I think one big way is just to recognize the financial hit that everyone takes and give more money to NS men, lah, and everything.
But then,
NS men and all.
But then where would it end? Because then you can always say that there's something about growing up in Singapore that disadvantages us from the global competitive climate of the workforce, like, the fact that like maybe we can't, the education system is so stringent that we don't have the breadth of studies that you experience in other other schools. It's almost like, there's that social experiment where the different races stand and then you move forward and back if you got disadvantage.
No, then I mean,
it
but
almost,
you just brought in the slippery slope argument, like, where will it end?
I know. Yeah. Where will it end?
Yeah. So it will end.
So that means
as
what?
your-
You just like, fuck it, it's slippery slope. I don't want to.
No. As in, there are real ways to calculate this. We can talk through it. If we can calculate what a minister's salary should be based on the median salary of the top 3% earners or something like that, then we can do the flip side for NS lah, right? What is the typical salary of someone who
Someone in the workforce for 2 years lah.
comes out of O level and or is in the workforce for 2 years? That's a great one. In the workforce for 2 years, I know university or university whatever. Then you take you take away a percentage of that lah, because he obviously hasn't gone to university yet, right? And then you compensate accordingly lah. Then to me, that's transparent, right? That's like, I really am basing it on data that is physically out there, right? About what equivalent pay could you be earning outside working at, even working at McDonald's or whatever, or even pegging it to something to McDonald's. Then after that is another layer of questions like who should we peg it to lah. But the point is that there is a formula that is very transparent, and that, like, we're showing that we really are trying to take into account the fact that we know that there's a financial hit on you and we care about your welfare. That's why we're trying our best to give back to you, rather than saying, oh, it's so difficult to calculate, so we shouldn't calculate at all. You know what I mean? Which is where you were headed to lah. Where does it end? It ends. There will be an end. A line can be drawn. You might as well ask the same of the upwards, the salary, like the minister's salary, they pack here, pack there. Then where does it end? They can earn like 100 times or whatever. And there is an end to it lah, right?
No, that's why it almost makes me feel like, I wonder how many of the people who maybe say, to be Singaporean, in some way, what you're saying is that being Singaporean going through NS, you are disadvantaged lah, to a certain extent in the competitive landscape, just in terms of time, your work experience and all that.
Yeah.
So it almost feels like, when people also say that, if you are a certain background or color of your skin, you are not disadvantaged. It's a level playing field. I think that's the kind of thing that everyone is disadvantaged in some way and advantaged in some way. I think what you're saying is the goal should always be to make it as equal an opportunity as possible. And where things are not equal, we try. Like the policies and institutions should work towards balancing that out, right?
Equitable.
Yeah.
Equitable.
What's the term? Equitable opportunity, is it?
Just rather than equality, which is an equality of outcome.
Outcome, yeah.
You want an equality of opportunity lah, and then it's equitable lah. Like if we know that you are disadvantaged, we give you a little boost. But if you still cannot, you still can't reach the apples and all that, then yeah lah. I mean that's what it is lah. Then we have a safety net below lah. Don't fall too hard lah.
Yeah, I think my issue over time, whenever I read articles that kind of, in some way, glorify the output of people who in your mind you could have been like, I always now take it with a pinch of salt, because I think as you get older, you read about all these articles about this person at this age achieved this and all that. But I think there was that book by Malcolm Gladwell, right, called like what the fuck is the thing that where he said the 10,000 hours mastery thing.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that book?
Outliers.
Yeah, Outliers. So basically, I think there was one article I read last time that changed my opinion on that. It was a Fortune 500 CEO who was a female, and she posted something personally, and she said, she's sick of the media just kind of putting her on a pedestal as a woman CEO with 4 kids and someone who manages to do everything. Because she said the one thing that these articles always miss out is the fact that her husband has taken on more of the domestic workload. She has a very supportive network of family who takes care of her kids, and she has all this going for her that is never put in the media. So I think in some way, whenever I see things that, of course, this article on CNA was saying that, it's a global landscape, there's no such thing as Singapore. I've also seen the other side where, if he's Singaporean, anyone in Singapore can do it. But that one also is a bit of a... then I think it could be almost painting this illusion that mantra, if you work hard, meritocracy will pull through, and it's all down to hard work and effort. But no, man, the older you get, right, the more you realize like anything, a lot of things you achieve in life, success, there's a fuck ton of luck.
There's a lot of luck.
Even whatever, even the stand-up comedy thing that we got, like, which is like a success, there's luck, and I think anything that kind of takes away from it and puts it solely on it is up to you to determine your destiny. That is also something I feel like, really, is it? I think it's better we acknowledge that, okay, no one starts at the level ground.
Yeah.
The system should strive towards making it as equal an opportunity as possible. But even then, there's a lot of luck.
Yeah.
You can work to improve your luck. You can work to make yourself ready when luck presents itself. But if you're fucking successful and you say, it's all down to my effort, then I'm like, hello, wake up your fucking idea, man.
Yeah, it's all down to things I've sacrificed. Then I'm like, come on, man.
No. Yeah.
If you've grown up with 4 limbs, in some way you're already considered lucky. You grow up in a family with mother and father, you're very lucky. And things like that, it just goes on and on. My point, I think we're basically saying something quite similar, right? I think articles like this, I feel, almost absolve the institutions of any kind of real impetus for change, real impetus to re-examine policies and or even their communications, and just like what is wrong, why is it that Singaporeans are feeling such angst, and I think the very fact that our friend in the big tech is so happy about this, and we because we so often hear about how Singaporeans we're not ready for the big time, right? We're not ready to be, for a Singaporean to be CEO of a big bank or anything like that, to have real leadership roles and real leadership roles and all these things, So it's just I think it's just important that they also acknowledge where this kind of angst comes from about these issues, rather than say that, just conveniently say that it's just Singaporeans being xenophobic or racist. Although they never use that term, but I feel that the implication was there,
Yeah.
And I feel very aggrieved because it doesn't address a lot of the issues that the other issues that have caused this kind of thinking or behavior to manifest itself on the ground.
Yeah.
Well, but you never talk about anything as a minority or what? Why so clean?
This one, I mean, the minority thing is then is the whole other thing to talk about, right?
No, I mean, but like the DBS CEO and all that, he's Singaporean now. He's got Singaporean citizenship, but he wasn't he's not so-called like Singaporean lah, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So what do you think of things like that?
Because that one, I don't know enough about how that industry works or something. If let's say it's in media, I guess that whole thing about, no, I think those sort of stuff can be very, very speculative almost. That, okay, there would definitely be someone in Singapore who was equally in the right spot to be the CEO of a company like DBS. And I think that is a tough thing. That's why I didn't bring up the majority thing, because...
No, what I was asking is like, so do you feel pride that the CEO of DBS is a Singaporean?
No.
No? Why not?
Because... So I guess that's where, if you ask me also, do I feel proud that a Singaporean is a CEO of TikTok? I don't know whether it's pride. I think I'm like, oh, that's cool. But whether it's deep down pride, I don't know. But for DBS, I almost feel like, I wouldn't say it's pride also. I'm like, oh, okay. But it's okay. I mean, someone's got to be a CEO. Just happens to be him.
No, I mean, so I'm asking if like, knowing the fact that, he became CEO after he became, or just before he became
Singaporean.
He became Singaporean just before or after he became DBS CEO and all that. Does that change your perception of this as a Singaporean is CEO of a banker?
I mean, I think if you're asking just based on that line, does it change my sentiment? Yeah, it does. It does, because then I think that line is, like what you say, like, it's oversimplifying the reality. Like, I think when you say someone is of a certain nationality, it paints a certain picture. That's just the way we've been educated, the way we are accustomed to descriptions and all that. And to just ascribe that what it conventionally means to someone who just became the citizen, I think it's not being as it doesn't paint the full picture lah. So that's where it would change my sentiment.
Okay.
Whether I'm more proud, whether I'm less proud, I don't know. Like, I think anyone achieving like that sort of stuff, like, okay, let's say Joseph Schooling lah. Joseph Schooling, I was fucking proud because that's a direct like competition with other countries that is quantifiable by number of seconds.
Now, how about
And I'm like, fuck yeah.
But the more recent one, Joseph Schooling, I think is like he might be once a
Anomaly,
once a generation kind of talent. But one that we've seen quite recently that we have seen the progress over the years is the table tennis team in Singapore, right? Initially, it was all naturalized citizens and all. Then now it's like really born and bred in Singapore.
So I mean, that I feel very proud. I feel very proud.
So you feel proud because
I think when it comes to sport, it feels a little less influenced by corporate bullshit. It's definitely influenced, but when you ask me the path of someone becoming the CEO of a big MNC, right? Who knows who they've fucked? Who knows who they've slept with? Who knows who they've made bankrupt? Of course, that's all like not every CEO does that.
Yeah.
But I'm a lot more cynical about that process, about it being less meritocratic than say something that is sport lah. And I know sport also can be influenced by a whole bunch of shit, but it feels like it's less shit than the corporate world lah.
Yeah. On the score is the score lah, right?
There's something very 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 romantic about that idea. And I think also because I know pursuing anything unconventional in Singapore as a career path like sports or something is not easy lah. And people are rarely doing it just because they aim to make it big financially or something. It's just because they fucking love it lah. And there's a certain amount of respect that commands from me. Whereas if you're a CEO of a big corporate, I'm like, I don't know, like, you might be the fucking shit ass boss. You might have no morals. You might not have ethics, but you become CEO.
That's true. So I mean, good time to point out also that the Chinese web series we're working on, the director of it, Alex, he's also someone that I met. He was working in Hong Kong and Beijing when I first met him. I was sitting opposite him in a meeting between a Singaporean film company and a Taiwanese, I think, Taiwanese film company. And then Alex was there. I was like, Singaporean inside there, pursuing Singaporean, working in entertainment industry, living in Beijing and everything. Quite interesting. And and turns out he was, doing a lot of interesting things in China, including working as John Woo's right-hand man, the director John Woo's right-hand man. And I thought there are a lot of Singaporeans doing interesting things overseas lah. And it's just that we don't often hear about their stories in the media because they're not CEO of some big corporate and things like that lah, right? Maybe we should really take a bit more effort to highlight these stories right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Singaporeans who won Oscars and stuff like that for music and visual effects and all that. You don't hear that much about them until they win the awards, right?
But they go do NS or not? They go do NS or not, Terrence?
Women lah.
No, there's the guy who arranged Lady Gaga's musical arrangement at Joe Biden's inauguration.
Yeah, correct. I don't know. Should ask him.
But that's why, like, I mean, it's something that if anyone has thoughts out there, that would be great to hear, because it's a much more deeper conversation spurred on by the article than I initially thought when I read that article.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
So from very deep conversation we're going to very skin deep. It's very skin deep topic lah.
Skin deep, yes.
Yeah.
And the topic is it's about a certain Will Smith. I'm sure everybody knows Will Smith. Like, Will Smith is one of those stars that he's like The Rock, right? He was like The Rock before The Rock. And on, let's see when, on on yesterday. Oh shit. Okay, that's the video. No, that's not me.
This is Harish's ringtone, Pussycat Dolls, don't ya?
No, that's the backing track to Will Smith's post.
I
It was
see, I
and like a looping video of him showing off his dad bod lah, and that
Okay.
came I think 1 day ago, and then 3 days ago he posted something showing him like wearing trunks and a jacket with a zipper open, and obviously with a dad bod, and the caption was, "I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm in the worst shape of my life," and it got like 100,000 comments because he does have 58 million followers, and then 2 days later, he announced with that looping video with the Pussycat Dolls music that he's partnering with YouTube to get his life back on track and get in the fittest shape of his life. So I know when he posted that thing 3 days ago, I saw a lot of articles saying, Will Smith is awesome, and other celebrities started showing their dad bod.
Yeah.
And people were just saying, like, it's a comforting thing to know that even celebrities are not being the fittest. But then when that other video came out 2 days later, I still saw overwhelming like positivity, but I did see some people point out that, oh shit, did Will Smith post that to be real? Or post that as like a marketing thing to further his show?
Yeah. And I think Jamie Lee Curtis posted something in response, but she has taken it down since already.
Oh, about the body acceptance thing.
Yeah. She posted about that. She's like trying to give advice, but also just show her own body, like how she's come to accept her own body. But probably while I'm not sure why she took it down, but I'm speculating because she realized that Will Smith was doing it as part of a marketing stunt. So she took hers down.
So I guess it's interesting because earlier last week, I think the internet was also broken by the Vogue photo shoot that Billie Eilish did.
Yep.
About where, I mean, she's like a fucking phenomenal talent, right?
Yeah.
But for the longest time, she also got a lot of kudos for wearing baggy clothes, admittedly because she didn't want to be sexualized by the media. And then last week, there was a Vogue photo shoot where she was wearing like body-hugging attire, and there was a whole conversation around body image. And then when this Will Smith one came out, it started positive, and then after this, I think I read something that made me think like, oh shit, if he's doing it just for marketing, is he kind of riding the wave of the body image positivity thing and then furthering his own cause? Because ultimately that got a lot of traction, and he has a reputation for being real, for being sincere and for being very likable. But what do you think? Do you think people are too triggered, too sensitive?
I mean, let's be real here, These kind of YouTube series, starring Will Smith and all that, they're big budget projects. They're not. They don't come out with it overnight. They didn't like day one. Will Smith posts a photo. Then day three, we announced that we're going to do a series with Will Smith. They have probably sat down with Will Smith for like the last 6 months, coming up with the concept, and probably have a whole team and a whole crew behind it already, So they knew this was happening. And then they probably told Will Smith, it'd be fantastic if you started posting a series of pictures that would lead up to the announcement of this thing, right? And so we go back into that same old territory about is it an advertisement or are you being real, right? And this one overwhelmingly feels to me like an advertisement. It is timed too perfectly with the announcement so that it's really to bring attention to the announcement to help Will Smith fulfill his obligations and make money. So it strikes me as kind of cynical, and I'd be pretty pissed off if I was like another celebrity who was trying to post something that thought it was very heartfelt, and it turned out that you're just helping someone promote their new show,
Also, you think that's why Jamie Lee Curtis took it down? Potentially.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because I mean, when I saw it, also and this is after me almost forcing myself to never believe anything I saw on Instagram. When I saw it, I was like, wow, really? It's fucking smart. It got a lot of traction. But it's almost like, to me, the message of the dad bod is like, okay, like, I'm with you on this. Like, I know, like, I might have, like, fucking access to all the resources in the world, but I still ended up with a dad bod. So don't feel bad, If you're not in the fittest shape of your life. And then 2 days later, I'm like, I'm teaming up with the world's best nutritionists and fitness gurus to bring my body back. And then the rest of us are like, what? Fuck, then we just do, like, 20 push-ups at home.
Exactly.
Like, fuck you, lah, So,
We don't have half the resources that he has to, get fit, lah.
yeah, that's almost like saying someone, oh, you're broke, is it? Yeah, I'm also broke. And then the next day, fucking get like $2 million check. And you're like, oh, sorry. I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you how I spend every dollar of this $2 million, so that if you somehow chance upon $2 million in the future, you can go through the same journey, But until then, peace out, y'all.
Yeah. No, or even because that one sounds like striking lottery, but even just like, oh yeah, 2 days later, I'm partnering with Bank of America to see how I can refinance my mortgages and everything. And obviously you're getting paid to do that, lah, right? And all of us, we won't get paid to do that.
No.
In fact, we have to pay for that shit.
And exactly, you think Will Smith is going to like pay to go to F-45 classes or something? No, he's getting paid to make the show. No.
Yeah.
What the fuck, y'all? So
this reminds me of remember a few years ago when Nathan Hartono became like a big star because of what's that show? Sing China and all that.
Sing China.
And then then he did this whole thing where he's like, I think was he challenging? Yeah, he said he missed Singapore so much while he's in China.
The Milo, lah.
Milo. Then I challenge everyone to do what you can with a Milo ping or something like that, right? And then just do some. What do you remember what the intricacies of the challenge was?
I think it was something about him getting Milo from Singapore, some package, or then they send the package from Singapore to China, or whether you can reach him or something like that.
Yeah. And there was no mention that this was an ad or anything like that. And it went ahead and people were like, I think even Mothership also wrote an article about it, which I don't know if it was sponsored or what, lah, right? A sponsored ad. And I think even you was like, whoa, this is pretty awesome, man. Were you?
No, I mean, but even if you ask me now retroactively after that whole thing panned out, I feel less cynical about that than Will Smith.
Okay. Don't need to explain yourself here, but you did feel at that point you were like, whoa, this is pretty awesome, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool.
At that point of time, my this fucking like cynical radar just went nuts already. And I was like, there's no fucking way that this guy is like doing this like for free or whatever lah. There's something behind it lah. And boom! Like 2 weeks later, Nathan Hartono's face is all over as Milo Ping. Like the product is Milo Ping. Milo Ping's new face.
Yeah.
So I just felt like, again, the ethics of like this so-called guerrilla or viral marketing, all that. It was breached, and I felt like you were being sold something under the pretense of patriotism and all that. So in some sense, I see Will Smith doing it here. Yeah, he's selling you something under the pretense of like body acceptance and like mental health and all that crap.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why, and this is after like, I mean, I think both of us have grown more wary of what we see on social media. But the fact that there are people out there who, I don't know, like maybe less cynical or less careful. I think when I saw that, I was like, fuck lah. I really did not like that. And now talking about that more makes me even like, bah.
Yeah. Were you talking about that as in Nathan Hartono or Will Smith?
No, Will Smith.
So why do you think the Nathan Hartono one is any better?
Actually, I take that back because in my mind just now I was like, but no, he started off posting something, then Milo approached him, and then they got this thing together. But then now when you said that, the poster thing, I was like, wait, that happened too soon. Yeah, that was also probably. I think it wasn't as clear cut as this. Like 1 day post, 2 days later there's a fucking post.
Wasn't
so that one I can't remember the intricacies lah. And I know you got your smug face on now right now thinking I told you so. I'm saying that one without further details. I'm refusing to say whether I still feel about that the same way as I do Will Smith.
No,
I give
you credit. You're right that Milo left. I think Milo they left a longer time period between the challenge the Milo Ping challenge, whatever that was, I can't remember, and the actual campaign of Nathan Hartono's face being the face of Milo Ping. So I think in that sense they try to so-called pad it a little bit lah. But I just ask you as a celebrity lah, or face, or a personality and all that. Like, how much of it is the personality's responsibility to do this correctly, as opposed to just listening to what the PR firm tells you to do?
I mean, I think you do have a responsibility lah, whether it's 100% of your responsibility. If you're signed to a major label and like they're fucking pressuring you to do this, or you're cornered, there are those kind of forces at play lah. But I think as an artist, I don't buy the argument like, that's what the client said, so I just do. Because I think there have been times in the past where certain influencers in Singapore said that, I'm like, hey, fuck you lah, okay? It's going on your channel, like, you need to take responsibility. Like, if something slips through the cracks, I mean, everybody makes mistakes, but you don't just say that, like, if a client is willing to pay me, of course I'll do it. Then I'm like, I don't know, I think when I hear the argument, I'm like, wow, that's a very, very blanket statement.
So in some sense, it's quite amateurish of Will Smith, right?
I mean, I wouldn't. That one. I mean, because he strikes me as being someone who's very savvy on social media. So I don't know, but it didn't seem to blow up that badly.
No, it
right?
didn't. Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah.
Because ultimately,
I will say,
the message is not a bad message, lah, right? Like whether it's about accepting your body or about I'm gonna take control of it. These are both positive messages, lah.
Yeah. And I mean, I will say just to highlight that for the Nathan Hartono thing, I think the timeline was wide enough that I still don't know 100% whether it was planned all along or whether something did come out organically. So I don't want to let you win yet, because I know that's what you're thinking.
It's okay.
Like you have this scorch out. No, you have this scorch out of like 3 years ago. I said this. Give it 3 years, and then we'll do a podcast about it, and I'll find out that I was right. So this one, no, it's not over. It's not over until we get Nathan Hartono on a podcast to ask him. No, fuck you. Don't say it's okay, because then you are absolving yourself.
I'm fine. Yeah.
Fuck off.
Don't
You and your
defensive,
patronizing language.
Don't need to be so defensive.
See, okay. So the fact that you use defensive on me makes me sound like the one with the problem. So shut the fuck up, okay?
So everyone here, no, Harish is making a lot of logical sense here, lah. So do listen to his logic and just conveniently, just don't look up the Nathan Hartono thing. Don't. You see the picture already. You
don't use that kind of passive aggressive language, okay? Okay, bloody hell.
No, I mean, but I was, I mean, Nathan Hartono's he's very popular. We are nobodies to him. Who cares, right? Right? Like when we make these kind of comments. I mean,
no lah.
But but this ethics of advertising, all that, honestly, in Singapore, nobody gives a shit, alright? Like, that's why the 35-second I'll teach you how to be rich guys are still doing that thing and all that. So yeah. Why? I mean, it's no big deal, lah.
No, it is a big deal, dude.
Why is it? Why is it a big deal, though?
Okay, because let's say if by some chance, okay, it was something organic, then I think we are making conclusions without actually doing the due diligence and holding ourselves responsible, which is what I always shit on other like media companies for doing. So I don't want to do it myself. And right now, I don't have enough details to conclusively say that it's very likely that it was pre-planned. I don't know. Maybe it was if I look at the timeline again, but I think at this point I don't know enough.
But you never have the full amount of information also. Maybe YouTube after Will Smith posted it on day one, maybe YouTube was like called him and like, okay, I got 500,000 or whatever lah. I got $6 million left for my budget for the year. I'm gonna give it to you to do something to help you lose weight. Okay, cool. I'll announce it tomorrow then. Right. Possible.
But I think it's just based on the unlikeliness of it. Like just now, you also agreed that the breathing period between the first interaction between Nathan Hartono and Milo and the big campaign was a bit longer.
But theirs was, I mean, that was even more what do you call it? Egregious in some way, because there was a photo shoot even, And these photo shoots don't happen overnight either.
Yeah, but then we have to dig up the facts. Like I think now we're just pulling out what we can remember.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying now. I'm saying that if you're gonna give Nathan Hartono that slack, we also need to give Will Smith that slack. That it is possible it is possible that within a day he closed the deal with YouTube. Right.
Okay, fine. Yeah, it is possible. But but you're only bringing that up. No. When you point out something that I agree with, I will accept. But the fact feels like you're only pointing this out because I pointed out the Nathan Hartono thing.
No, because I feel that the use of like logical loopholes and all these things to say that you will never know, it's then it kind of makes it hard to argue against anything lah. But I mean, I'm just saying here, based on whatever information is publicly available and based on your experience of knowing what a person or knowing the industry, knowing how it works and things like that. What we're saying is let's try and speculate lah, or make a smart estimate about how things went lah.
Yeah, but I'm saying we don't have the same info for the Will Smith case as compared to the Nathan Hartono case.
We will never have the same. We will never have the complete amount of information. You see,
the thing is, we know how many days passed when Will Smith posted and the announcement. You ask me how long did it pass before that for Nathan Hartono? I don't know. So that's why to me it's a very difficult thing to compare just right now because we don't have the similar facts for Will Smith for Nathan Hartono.
This kind of data we will also never be able to get it fully. You see,
but if you want to base it on what we know as consumers of content in the public space, I think there can be apples to apples comparison. And right now, I feel we don't.
No, I say that. That to me, the argument of like we don't know is that's why my point is that
we can know. I can go Google everything now.
Yeah, exactly. So all this is we can find one, the Nathan Hartono thing, whether it's
okay. Then the next podcast we follow up. It's just that I don't want to spend time googling now and finding all the exact data points for Nathan Hartono as for Will Smith.
I know.
So you are also extrapolating by me saying I don't have the points now means I don't know. No, there's two very different things. I can Google it. It'll just take time, and we don't have time to do that now, lah.
No, but I'm just saying that the backtracking just to buttress the argument, saying that we don't have the data. That to me is a weak argument lah. As in the sense that we will never have full data for any of these things lah. I mean, whether it's confidentiality clauses or even just like in a person's mind or something like that. Nathan Hartono, maybe he never intended for it to be something with Milo, and then he called Milo the next day, and then something happened. He can say that lah, right? But we also we'll never know the truth lah. That's the thing. And that's where I say that, and that's where a lot of conspiracy theories also can come from. Like, we will never know the truth because, and then it's just this endless cycle of we'll never know the truth. So whatever you're saying now can't be true.
No, but same way conspiracy theories can come from jumping to conclusions.
Correct.
So whatever you're saying is true the other way also.
I know, but based on as much available evidence and everything that is out there already lah. That's what I'm saying. But if we want to like drill down to everything, every single piece of evidence, it'll be impossible lah. And then it'll just be a endless loop lah, basically.
No, but then I feel that if we want to drill down to every piece of evidence, if we just want to make a comparison, like what is annoying me is you're comparing my behavior about the Nathan Hartono thing with this Will Smith thing, when I feel there are different sets of data points on which we are basing this conclusion, and I don't like it when you extrapolate and you jump to conclusions about my jumping to conclusions.
Okay, we'll follow up with this in the following podcast. I think the homework to do now is to find out what was the gap. Actually, somebody on Reddit could help us, right? This is the kind of research that we would need help with. The gap between Nathan Hartono and the
side-by-side comparison.
His Milo Pink challenge, and then subsequently him like being outright like a Milo ambassador and everything lah. And
I think the first post is when he said he misses Milo. That was the first post.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
He misses Milo.
So
then when we have the similar amount of data, then we can revisit this.
Okay. Sure. I know comms. I have no comms. As in, if I'm wrong later, I'll be very happy to be proven wrong. Yeah. So that's the thing.
Good to know.
That's the thing. I don't need to be correct in this. If we can get Nathan Hartono and he can clear the air for us, that would be
great.
Like even better.
Like
look me in the face and just tell me, shut the fuck up, Terrence. You're wrong. Cause
Yeah.
I want to be proven wrong in this kind of instances. You see.
And then he gives you a promo code for Milo Peng.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's my point. Don't be afraid of being wrong. You know, it's okay to be wrong. The idea.
Okay, so who is that? Who is that directed against? Is it directed to the public or directed against me? Because
No,
if it's
it's
directed against
directed-
me, then fuck you. Okay.
It's directed to everyone. There is no shame when you are trying to debate about something. There's no shame in being wrong and learning something.
Yeah.
Correct.
I
lah.
totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
The important
and
thing,
and
the important thing is to
Yes.
use whatever is available to you, the resources available to you, and try and find the truth, lah. You know.
yeah lah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now you're getting back on your moral high horse, is it?
No. I'm just saying. People don't get. Not you. I'm just saying. In the process of arguing, it's very easy to like dig in and say that no, this is the, and then start to like logic. You know, that kind of thing, and then it'll be endless. It'll be endless. Nobody will get. It'll be a World War I all over again. Trench warfare, lah.
You said that's not directed towards me, but it's so directed to me. And what is even worse than people who don't want to accept that they are wrong is people who get on a moral high horse while their moral high horse is shitting over everyone else as it gallops through the fields of truth.
Yeah, but it's galloping towards truth, lah. That's the important thing. You said it like you hit it on the head. Yeah, but yeah, lah.
Yeah.
That's the
Galloping towards truth.
That's a big discussion about. You
Yeah.
know, the kind of framework that people use in arguments is very important also, lah, right? I think that a lot of times when people get into arguments, there's no end in sight because people are operating on different frameworks. I've been there before. I've had arguments that I got into like at 12 midnight and start arguing at 6 a.m. Not relationship related lah, but like about intellectual stuff. And at the end of the day, it's like people are just on they're just arguing different things.
Yeah.
It's not
Dude,
worth
you know
the
we
time.
have to rehearse for the live show, right? Let it go, man.
No, yeah, okay. No, it's a very
Our
good.
live
It's
show
a
is in
good
like a few
exercise.
hours.
It's a good
Fuck.
exercise.
Because you get off to arguing. I'm like, oh shit. Do we have enough time to rehearse for the live show, you piece of shit?
All right. Okay, then let's move on to the next segment. One Shiok comment.
One Shiok comment.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, like we are literally recording this a few hours before our live show.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Our first live show.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, what is your one Shiok comment?
My One Shiok comment. Hello, are you still there? Yeah. Okay. My One Shiok comment is based on the. My One Shiok comment is based on the recent comments on the Ask Me Anything chats, lah. And I think the one of the more recent ones is from CTOH69. He said that he loves this AMA chats. Makes us feel like we're getting to know you better as people, not only as podcast stars. We're not stars, lah, but yeah. But he does. I mean, he says he gives some suggestions on what we should do on YouTube and all that. He says, well, what I do know, not much, except that thanks to listening to podcasts like yours, I've managed to get through each week a lot better. I know I've said this before, but thank you very much, guys. So yeah, that kind of just sums up what it is for me, lah. The experience of going through everything that we're going through together now in life, whether it's a circuit breaker or going back to phase 2 and stuff like that. It's a good practice to just talk it through or just listen to some people talking it through and forming opinions of your own and talking to your friends about it and everyone, lah. So that's what this whole experience is about to me, lah.
Okay. I mean, now I regret asking you what your comment is first because I also had shortlisted that as my favorite comment.
Oh, sorry.
But there's another comment from Hayata S about the podcast podcast 153 when the cabinet reshuffle, what the cabinet reshuffle means, and the $250 Premier League Young Player of the Month award. I mean, basically, like it's a 5-6 paragraph entry that talks a bit about the backstory of the Super League and the $250 Premier League prize money for the Youth Award, and I just thought it was a thoughtful response that was it's worth a read, and rather than just a comment that it's just. I mean, thankfully we don't get those sort of like one line troll comments on our Reddit. But whenever I read a comment that is well structured and all, I always appreciate it lah. So kudos to you, Hayata S. Yeah, it was just about how the amount of the $250 didn't sit well with him also lah.
Correct. That's right.
Nice. Yeah.
And then our final segment.
The One Shiok Thing.
Yes.
Wait, I need to.
So what
Okay,
is
would you
your One Shiok Thing?
Would you like to go first? I need to find the link.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I would. I don't usually do product shout outs and everything like that, but I've spent the last couple of weeks really reading up about Wi-Fi routers and how a router can make a huge difference to your surfing experience at home and everything. And because a lot of us, I think we just use whatever Wi-Fi router that the StarHub or Singtel or M1 or whoever passes to you, lah, right? And a lot of times, those routers are they're some of the cheaper ones, and the range of these routers, the speed of these routers actually is getting in the way of you experiencing faster internet, lah. And so when I finally went out and bought my own router, I don't want to plug any particular product, lah, but I did buy a new router that cost me about $200 plus. Yeah, the difference was like the first time I used an iPhone versus a BlackBerry, like,
Really?
it just like suddenly like the internet is just a lot faster. The usual dead spots that I was experiencing, they didn't entirely go away, but they were the range was much better. And the router isn't as ugly as the previous router, so it occupies a nice spot in the living room and things like that. So all I'm saying is maybe it's a good time for everyone a good reminder for everyone to look into your router experience, because of the generational leap in Wi-Fi 5 to Wi-Fi 6 as well, lah. So like that can make a huge difference in just when you're at home and just surfing the net and stuff like that. And a lot of times we take for granted now that the speed of the internet is the speed of the internet, but no, man, like you can actually zeng up your internet using a good router and a well placed mesh node and things like that, lah.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
So
because I know
because everyone uses the one from StarHub or Singtel, and nobody questions whether there's a better way to do it, lah. But there is, yeah.
I see. Because I know my brother also was facing some issues with that. So yeah, I like if I'll get the link from you and check it out.
Yeah. See, I didn't even plug any product. Fantastic, right?
Yeah. So you're just plugging the philosophy of questioning your status quo router, lah.
Yeah. It's not like, I need a new router, and then next 2 days later suddenly I'm sponsored with a new router and that kind of shit.
Yeah, we're recording and uploading but in extra time, quick time, because we no longer have issues uploading the huge audio files.
Yeah. But yeah.
So then what link you gonna share? What link you gonna share?
Probably maybe something about Wi-Fi 5 versus Wi-Fi 6, so you can also read and understand why maybe it's a good time to update your router if you haven't done so in the last few years.
I see. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. My One Shiok Thing is the YouTube channel Ian Kang. I think I mentioned it to you previously, but not on the podcast. It's this Asian American YouTuber who makes videos that range from like 7 seconds to 2.5 minutes, and it just boggles my mind how good these videos are, because every video has a very clear statement or it's making about some current affair or some weird thought. Like, it's a comedy channel. The production quality is not the best.
Okay.
I think 2 weeks ago he released like a short skit about the police officer in the US who mistook her gun for something else and ended up shooting the guy.
Correct. Yeah.
He made a 7-second video called "When Cops Mix Up Their Weapons at Home," and it has 945,000 views. And to me, it's like, wow, this is the essence of YouTube, lah. You get a video that is just so well thought out, but so simply filmed, but it still makes a point about these very tough issues to talk about, lah. So I fucking love this guy.
He's Asian.
Yeah, Asian American.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. We come to the end of the podcast.
Yep. So
Cool.
wish us luck. We're all gonna do our final performances before the end of phase 2 later
Yeah,
today.
by the time you hear this, I mean we're uploading this the day after we record this, so we would have already done one show by the time you hear this.
Yep.
So yeah. Talk to you all soon.